Hey folks, welcome back. We are wrapping up the classical era as the Polynesians here on turn 73, which is honestly quite early for me. Classical era usually goes more to like turn 90 or 100 for me, I would say. But anyway, we're in a pretty good position. We're at 6,800 fame, which, isn't amazing, but it's not bad. And we're going to use kind of this time before we go up to the medieval era as a bit of a reset period to do a little bit of strategizing about where we want to go next, and kind of thinking about which targets we're going for, I guess we could say, because I kind of have a few different thoughts in terms of where we can expand next now that our territory is kind of largely settled here. Obviously, I have a lot of outposts here that could be turned into cities, but I don't think a lot of this is particularly productive land to use. So we'll talk about that. So first, I'm going to kind of just take a look at my different cities and see what we're building. So we do have the mausoleum, and actually, thinking about it, I would like to finish that very quickly because, I could just... I'm going to buy out that Maker's Quarter here, just to speed that up a bit. And actually, let's pull some people off science, put you on industry here, and maybe money as well. And hopefully try to finish that mausoleum. Because I do want to claim another wonder once we go into the next era. I am a little bit behind. Let's buy out that flood irrigation. I'm going to let this finish the marae, because I am going to come down here and sack this city. This is a pretty bad city. But by building this marae here, if I attach it back to my other cities later, once I put a new outpost down, that marae will still exist as a quarter, which will increase my outputs. That's actually very inexpensive to finish, and I think... yeah, could get that down to 2 turns. So we'll finish that. We also have a diplomacy thing here. So arms deal, I'm going to refuse this. This is going to get the Celts access to my unit, which I don't want them to have. I'm going to... actually, they only have one of those. So something I was thinking about and looking at before the episode started is trade. And I hadn't really explored the trade menu. I do think it's interesting here. There are some improvements that I like, and the biggest one that I really like is I can now go through here and see what resources are available in every single empire and just buy them directly from the screen. I don't have to go through the individual diplomacy screens. I can also look at blockages, and it'll tell me why I'm blocked from trading with someone. So here I can see, I can't trade with the blue player here because there's an ongoing diplomatic crisis. So it makes it really easy to figure out, where trade is going, why trade's blocked, all that kind of stuff. That was a little bit harder to troubleshoot before. And, if I come down to this individual territory, I can see the flow of resources through any individual area. So I can see, 3 players going through here, 11 resources being bought, 10 being sold, so on. So it's a nice little screen. Obviously it ties in a lot to naval gameplay, and I'll talk about that at a later point. But for now, I'm happy at least with the amount of information it provides. Now, actually, speaking of trade, before I forget, there are some trade routes that I do want. So specifically, marble. Something I've come to realize is that the trade you do is brown, right? I'm thinking about going to war with brown, to be honest. I'd like to secure their resources. But something I've come to realize is that the trade route cost is the same regardless of how many you're getting, right? So if I want this marble here, or this obsidian, you can see I have the maintenance for that. It increases from 132 to 192. But it doesn't matter how many accesses I get. That only affects like the license cost, I guess you could call it. So you pay more upfront, but it doesn't affect your ongoing maintenance if you get multiple copies of the same resource. which means it's going to be more effective typically to buy the resources that someone has multiple of rather than just one of. But, you know, obviously there's some other considerations as well. One of the things, for instance, is like, say you're looking at something like gemstones, where you get the +2 money on market quarters. This could actually cost more in terms of maintenance to get than you'd actually receive in return. So in like a weird twist, it diminishes the value of gold by creating gold maintenance. Because, you know, on the margin, there are going to be a lot of times, especially in the early game, it's not worth trading for those resources. Anyway, I digress. I'm going to get the marble, I think. So that'll deplete my money, but that's fine. I think it's worth it to get these nice outputs here. We'll catch up on, we'll start catching up on the, the infrastructure soon in the next era once we knock out this mausoleum. Now, I'm going to pick the Rapa Nui, and the Rapa Nui are the new culture added by the cultures of Oceania, so let's talk about them quick. So it's +1 industry on coastal water. So this obviously has some really nice synergies if you have played cultures in previous eras that have the harbor districts and you have a lot of coastal water. I don't think I have to explain that farther, but this really plays well into the strategy of taking the tenet that gives you additional food on, Respect the Sea's bounty. That gives you additional food on coastal water, which is already a very powerful strategy, and amps that up. Now, you are foregoing some of the better harbor districts in the game, which includes the Bandari for the Swahili, which I think is my personal favorite. Swahili are a great culture if you have a lot of coastal water because of the money and the food, as well as tons of stability. It basically solves your stability issues for a lot of cities. And then the here they are, the Norsemen, which give you a ton of food and give you some extra money from ransacking. So you do forego access to those, but you get these moais, which I'm not sure how I feel about yet. So these are interesting because it's a 3-tiered district basically. So you put it down once, and then you can build an upgraded version of it, and then you can build an upgraded version of it again. So you're basically just upgrading a district a few times once you place it down, and you get some sort of increased output without it affecting your stability, and more importantly, without it affecting your industry scaling costs, I would assume, because you're still just at one district that you've upgraded. What I'm curious about is whether or not each upgrade of this kind of increases your era stars for the builder era stars. We'll find out as we go. The outputs on this are a little odd, in my opinion. Faith, food, and influence. But we'll see how that feels. I've noticed influence is a very common output among cultures of Oceania. Very good in the early game, but falls off a bit. And we have this Maori Tangata, which is basically just a melee unit that gets some extra combat strength when it attacks units behind enemy walls. We'll see how that feels. I think it's +8 that I was looking at. Also, I forgot to mention this Makes Eye. It gives it's like +50 industry per turn per era you've advanced through or something like that when you found a new city. Not going to be a lot of new city foundation going on at this point, so that has somewhat limited value, but good for getting a city started. Anyway, we'll take the Rapa Nui. That'll bring us up to the next era. And one thing I forgot about, actually, Uh-oh. Okay, I thought I had a turn pending bug there. So one thing I forgot about is that... No, I'm going to refuse. I actually have a grievance here. And I'm going to start claiming these grievances. I am going to fight these guys at some point. I do want to secure my territory here. I'd also like to get an embassy, or not an embassy, an emissary going. Envoy, I guess, not emissary. And man, Plus 19 industry on that would be really nice. I should start using my money to buy some of this stuff just to get some of these cultures going. And land rights. I'm going to go for the extra food per number of attached territories. I can come back and select this later, but right now I have a lot more influence than money, so taking that option doesn't really make sense. One thing I forgot to mention is that I'm looking at the fame, and the orange player is actually ahead of me, which is not uncommon in this sort of phase of the game for other players to be ahead of you in fame. What is weird about it is that they are ahead of me in fame despite being in the same era, which means they've actually generated fame more efficiently than I have as the player, which is a really weird position to be in for me. Typically, the way it works is the AI will go through the early eras fast with like medium efficiency, but it's pretty rare I'm on the other side of things where I'm not as efficient. And that's largely going to be due to, if I go back to the other eras, right? I didn't get that third aesthete star in the ancient era, and I didn't get any militarist stars. And then the second era, I got no merchant stars or diplomat stars, right? So not like the most efficient I could have been, but I'm going to have to start playing relatively efficiently, which will also be hard given my current situation of just picking Oceania cultures. They don't, in my opinion, from what I've seen, they don't synergize together well, even if they sometimes work well together with the other cultures in the game. And actually, so I get the +1 on coastal waters. So interestingly, when I select to place this somewhere, it doesn't show what the outputs would be. Are they not working? Does the harbor not work for those outputs? No, it does. Okay. Presumably. I actually didn't check what my industry looks like when I completed that. But I'm gonna buy some harbors because I do want these. And it does make sense over here. And then for this one, because this territory and this territory will end up connected at some point, I'm actually going to put it right here, and then it'll work some of these coastal waters rather than down here. Let's take a look at other places I can put harbors as well. I think up here I can influence purchase one. And then down here. Nope, I already have one there. Okay, great. We'll get a harbor over here as well. All right. So, this is kind of returning to another point. The orange player here, the fact that they've been more efficient in getting fame does make them a target for me. However, I've also noticed that the sort of pink player here has stacked 2 wonders in this one city. So they have both the Colosseum and the lighthouse, and they also have a decent number of luxuries in this city as well. And this makes them a really good target for me, in my opinion. So maybe once I secure down here, I'll start focusing on the Maya and specifically that one city. But for now, I would just like to secure my own continent. Let's take a look at tech. So military architecture is what unlocks my emblematic unit, which is an interesting spot. I do like the new artwork here. That's cool. I feel like feudalism might be my best option for now, just to get that extra 1 food on tile producing food. Gets colony model as well, and there's a possibility I settle a new city at some point. It honestly wouldn't be a terrible idea to just pillage Gnosis here and resettle it as a new city, because it only has 2 population. We'll wait 1 turn to pillage there. Okay, so I can claim a wonder now, which is what I wanted to do with finishing that one. So I have pick a litter here. I honestly wouldn't mind Forbidden City this game. Notre Dame, yeah. I don't really need faith. I feel like a lot of the cultures I've picked give me faith. Great Zimbabwe would be interesting. Money per number of unique type of resource. Great Mosque obviously gives extra fame. Anchor Walk is food for faith. I'm not really struggling with faith at all. Citadel, I'm not a huge fan of. You can reveal stealth units and all that, but against the AI, I don't feel strongly that I really need that. I'm going to go for Great Zimbabwe. I do feel like that scaling on the money is really useful, and I am trying to be a little bit more efficient about getting those stars this game. Oh, interesting. Something I did not notice, the Moai exploits all resources. Interesting. That actually makes their placements quite unique in some ways. Okay, so what I'm going to do here with this then is actually use this to kind of bridge the gap on the river. What's the placement restriction? Just once per territory. But like I can place them down here, but not up here. Does it have to be adjacent to districts? Yeah, okay, that makes sense. But you can use these. Oh no, hold on. Resource exploitation says all those, but if I say I have this industry here that's not being worked, that's not actually exploiting that industry there. So why does it say it has that as exploitation, as resource exploitation? Seems odd to me. But it doesn't affect the industry under it. Is this working right? I'm not sure. Let's place one right here and see what happens. Because I want to kind of like bridge up to here and use this area for some makers quarters potentially. And let's see. Over there makes more sense with the research quarters kind of being near each other. So let's put it down here. So something that's going to be interesting about, I can take those there. Something that'll be interesting about these Moais is that it'll actually be more efficient to build them one at a time. And yep, that'll work. That'll exploit that science. So just a pretty marginal benefit there, but still useful. Because if I'm placing a whole bunch of them at once, it's going to increase my industry cost of future districts, right? Whereas if I build them one at a time and then upgrade them, I'm getting that value more efficiently, basically. See, this one, I'm actually like adding, I guess I'm not working the industry there. So I guess it's not like exploiting tiles around it like other tiles do. It's only working the tile that's directly beneath it. Yeah, we'll go for the extra industry. Okay. It is, I really appreciate any districts that allows me to make efficient use of river tiles. I feel like that's always a bit of a struggle for me. Okay, whoops, did not mean to have you wait. Let's burn this down. And just, yeah, let's have you work on Great Zimbabwe, I guess. And I'm going to place it in a city that might be struggling a bit with stability, which doesn't seem to be any of them at the moment. So let's put it up here, maybe. We'll need it at some point. Put her in a spot that has some decent exploitations. Yeah, down there is pretty good. Yeah, I see no reason to not put it here. Unless there's some other amazing location I can put it in a different city. Oh, wow. Okay. I mean, really stacking benefit in the capital if I put it there, but yeah, it's hard to say no to that, so let's just plop Great Zimbabwe there. On the turn, let's get a new outpost down here. All right. Really wish I had another one more movement there, but oh well. Okay, let's put you on auto explore. And Rikane, yeah, I'll let you finish the market quarter first. So something I'm going to have to do this era is not just like hyper focus on building these emblematic quarters, because they're not giving me the outputs that I really need. And the important thing about these as well is that the Moais aren't giving me any slots, right? And like my slots are filling up on my cities, and I need to make more efficient use of my population. So I'm probably not going to have a ton of these districts, honestly. It's going to be a little challenging to make things work if I really focus on those too much. Okay. So we'll have you, yeah, see, this will be a little challenging. Oh, I see. There's a little 2 here. It's a little hard to see against the background. If there's some way we could make that pop a little more, that would be nice. Yeah, see, the second phase of this is not as good as the first one. I'm going to pillage the city and resettle it so that I get my my infrastructure for free. And if you come over here, just kind of hang out, and let's see, what do you want? I don't know what they want. Okay. Okay, I've found a cog for free. We're going to keep exploring over here. And, alright, these guys have a fair few resources. See if we can get them to trade luxuries. They're going to refuse. It's fine, I'll renounce. There's no way I'm going to be able to go to war with those guys anytime soon, so I'll take some leverage. Okay, feudalism is done. I'm kind of tempted to go for military architecture, just so I can get this unit. What's interesting about this unit is that it actually gives you an interesting alternate pathway through the era, because you can, like, war summons and heavy infantry are pretty important, but if you really want to just use these units, you know, that's 37 base combat strength. That's only 1 below the great swords, and it doesn't require any resources. The great swords require iron. So you could theoretically not need war summons or heavy infantry if you just focus on this one unit. That said, it doesn't seem like you'd be able to upgrade your units that way. You'd have to build new ones, but theoretically possible. Let's get some science for money investment. Doesn't feel great at the moment, but I'm gonna do what I have to do, I suppose. It felt like the best of the options I had available to me. Spending 1,000 gold for temporary stability, like plus 10 stability for a few turns, is not a great trade in my opinion. Okay. Yeah, I wish I had some more industry in here. I'm actually going to grab the... Okay, go away notifications. I'm going to grab the artisan workshop here, I think. And that'll free up a few more slots as well for people. Animal barns, yeah, it's not great. I should start getting some of these, like the customs farm, maybe. I feel like it would be okay in a few of these. I am missing the horses to build it efficiently though, but plus 19 money's not something to scoff at. I should also be getting some of this basic infrastructure as well. What's the forge give me? 11 industry. It's not amazing, but what's a maker's quarter look like in here? Yeah, it's pretty garbage. I don't know why it's recommending over there. 14 industry right there is obviously the way to go. Let's wrap up that research quarter quick. Let's get the maker's quarter going. We'll upgrade the heads. We don't need scientific correspondence, thank you. Yeah, I'm really crummy on resources right now. I don't need any grievances against them at the moment. My war support here will slowly tick up. Okay, and let's make a new city here. And now I have, you know, all that infrastructure that I didn't have before for free. And we will attach a few territories here. Which ones make sense? Probably like these 3, maybe. So I think I definitely want this one here to connect it to the sea. And then these two kind of along the rivers here. Yeah, we'll build some more heads right there, just next to the existing ones. Let's go on experts, go on industry, let's go money, and then science. I actually feel like I've been going down the tech tree pretty quickly, so I honestly wouldn't mind slowing that down a little bit in this era. Not go as heavily in science. I really need money if I want to generate era stars efficiently. Also, I should really be doing some of these treaties. Let's get those going, and then I can just do a little bit of influence investments in these. I don't really want to spend any more money than I'm already spending. And over here, I'm going to grab profit sharing just to increase my gold income a little bit. I don't really need the rest of these. Oh, actually, let's go this way. I'm going to move him up here. I'm going to prepare to go to war with the brown player at some point. I probably will want a larger army than I currently have. I'll probably need to produce it out of Mikane up there. Okay, let's upgrade that district. And then yeah, I mean, none of these are terrible options, but maybe on the river here. That being said, not really worth getting a market adjacent there. Let's finish that one first. I also don't have a forge in here. Let's grab the forge. And actually, let's grab the food market as well. This is a little inefficient since I don't have all those horses I need for the customs farm, but I really need to get those outputs up. I can't just hyper-focus on building my emblematic quarter. I'm used to thinking about, like, picking the culture that I need in terms of the emblematic quarter output, so I just, like, can just plop those down without really thinking about it, but I need to think a bit more carefully about what I'm building and in what order this era than I normally would. Stability is a bit of an issue in here. I might build my next obelisk in that city. Okay, let's see, let's renounce, and I have to wait a little bit, that's fine. I don't want to just haphazardly spend influence, it is still a resource I should bank where possible. Okay, so that's, you know, +5 food, +5 faith, +5 influence for the last tier. Yeah, I mean, these aren't like, what's the actual cost of these districts? It's 104. Oh my god, these notifications get annoying sometimes. 104, 104. Yeah, I mean, it is less expensive than, you know, straight up districts, but the outposts, or the outputs, are actually quite a bit worse, in my opinion. It does make for an interesting method of getting builder stars, though. I'm not sure how I feel about these yet. Okay, this city has potential to get a lot of outputs, so I'm going, or a lot of outputs. Yes, all cities more or less have potential for that, but a lot of production. I think I'm going to focus a little bit on getting some industry in here. What is that? That's an admin center. Interesting effect on the admin center there. No, thank you. Yeah, those guys are just going straight up as the Sumerians. Well, at least their emblematic unit will be pretty crap. The Axumites, huh? Okay. Let's see what they have. Nothing I'm really that interested in, to be honest. Okay. I'm also getting pretty close to my next tenant. Yeah, there we go. Just triggered it. So, I have a few options. let's take a look at my cities first. And I am nearing in on my kind of end of the episode here. Get that extra influence there. And then maybe start working on a little bit of extra money. Lumberyard would be worth it as well. I'm actually going to grab that first. Let's just buy that out. And let's move a couple people from food onto industry. Probably need the public fountain in here as well. And same in this city, actually. Haven't built those quite yet. And let's see. Might be more efficient to grab this here. Let's take a look at the possibilities for my tenants here. So purge idleness, plus 15 industry at main plaza, and you get industry on religious districts. You have to bear in mind I have a lot of religious districts this game. Plus 10 war support when opponent refuses your demand, and plus 10 war support when opponent breaks a treaty. It does have some use. I actually think yield to none might be a better one than that, which is weird because it's in a previous tier. Mandate patronage, plus 2 money per number of trade routes on city, and plus 2 money on religious districts. Proselytize daily, extra influence. Shoe gluttony is one I really like. I think I'm not going to choose shoe gluttony this game. I would like to get extra outputs. So to me, I don't have alliances, so mandate patronage or purge idleness, I think, is the play. I think I'm going to go for mandate patronage, maybe. Though, yeah, purge idleness does just feel more efficient in this one. Let me look at how many, what my religious districts look like. So it would include my, my maraes. And it would include my moais that I'm now building. So that's like, let me think about that. Because that's only like plus 12 maybe on my like 3 main cities of those core outputs from the religious district. So that's like 36 across the whole culture. And then like whatever I get from the baseline. So it would be an extra 15 industry on each city. And then for the trade routes, it's like 36 there. It's like 40 there. I don't know. I said I'm going to go for the outputs, but like the outputs don't seem that appealing to me. They're not nearly as good as these ones. Like these ones are so much better. I think I'm going to go for a shoe gluttony, even though I just said I'm not going to choose it. That movement speed is just worth more to me than a relatively trivial number of outputs. Just park there for a bit. I might put you on Auto Explorer, my freebie unit here. And let's move you, move you up here as well. All right. Yeah, AI really like abusing the Diplo mechanics to reduce war support. I have noticed it is quite challenging sometimes to get a sufficient amount of war support. It does make some of the tenets more appealing. Okay, so let's grab theology for the city cap. I am only at 4 out of 4 right now. I should really consider founding another city. Maybe this one here. Honestly, this wouldn't be a terrible spot. Could get kind of these ones here, and this city or place will eventually decline, or I could take it over. That being said, I will go to war against Brown and have new cities pretty quickly. That might be a call for the next episode. Oh, okay, interesting. So I can upgrade the swordsman to these units. Oh, wow, okay, all right. Actually, that does change things. I do think, in this case, I am going to be going for pretty aggressive plays next episode. Okay, have a pretty solid amount of industry here now. Let's see if we can get up to like 500. This will increase later because of adjacency, though. Actually, is that like the best spot for a... Yeah, that's a pretty good spot for a market quarter. So maybe I'll throw another makers up here, and then we can start working on some of this other stuff. Okay. All right. So I think that'll do it for this episode. Take a look at... Yeah, they're still ahead of me in fame, even though they're, you know, an era behind me, which isn't great for me. I think I'm going to turn this into a bit of a longer era maybe, but we'll see. Or I'll have to target them later in the game, which they're kind of far away, so it's annoying. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one where we'll continue with the Rapa Nui.